All right, class. For this video, we're going to go over Applied Lab Skills 5.7.12. And basically, the first part of this, we're only looking for errors. E-R-R-O-R-S. I know with my accent, sometimes it sounds like arrows, but it's errors, like mistakes. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this spreadsheet, and you'll see the green sometimes can signify maybe this is a mistake. All right, so maybe this is a mistake. So what we're going to do is we're going to click in our first mistake or error, and you'll see this hazard sign come up. All right, so hit the drop down arrow, and we kind of figure this looks right, correct? So it was a mistake on spreadsheet's fault side. So here we're going to say ignore error. All right, so the next one is in cell I9. It's about Mr. Turnip Head. And so we're going to look at Mr. Turnip Head and okay, I see the problem on Mr. Turnip Head. You see up here, it says E6 through H6. All right, so that's not correct because we're in row number 9. You see row 9, that's where we are. So we're going to change this to E9 through H9. Hit enter. So that fixes that one. The next one is going to be cell I11. So we're in row 11. And see this problem. You see up here where it says total? All right, so when we add things together, what's the total? It is the word sum. So I'm going to fix it like SUM. Hit enter, and we're good to go. Now the last one we have here is in cell I14, and it's about plugs. So it's got sum equals E14 hyphen does not mean through, correct? What it means through, or what signifies range, is a semicolon. So that's how you fix those. So all of those are now fixed. Number 2, in J6, let's go to J6. Create a formula using relative references that returns the value of the total number of Furbits sold times their price. Sold times their price. So when you see the word times, you should automatically think multiplication, right? You think multiplication. Says equals, and we're going to go I6, all right, because it's I6, and our multiplication symbol is a little star, so we're going to go to Shift 8. But if you have the number pad on your keyboard, if you go to the far right, you should see it above the number 9. And we want to multiply it times D6. So, how many we sold is 2,085 at $24.99 each. So if I hit enter, that brings us up to $52,000. I'm going to copy and drag because that's what it means when it says relative reference. We're going to move based on each cell. So it would be cell on this one. It would be D7 and I7. Click and drag. Okay, so let's look at number 3. Number 3 says in case 6, use the if function to create a formula that will return yes. So if statement, yes or no, right? False, true or false. If the revenue from Furbits is equal to or higher than the threshold in N5. Okay, so if you remember from the last applied lab, we're going to have to use an absolute reference. And to use an absolute reference to keep the cell locked on in N5, or N5, to keep the cell locked on N5, we're going to have to do question mark, not question mark, $N, $5. So here, we're going to go equals if, because remember, it's a logical statement now. If this happens, what happens? J6 is greater than or equal to. Yesterday, we used less than or equal to. So now we're using greater than or equal to $, n, $5. So you can see here, it's locked now because you see the red around it. So that means we did that part of the equation correctly. So comma, quotation marks, yes, close quotation mark, comma, quotation mark, no, close quotation mark, close parentheses, hit enter, and now we have yes. And now all we have to do is click and drag. That question mark, I don't know why I keep calling it question mark, that $n, $5 makes it an absolute reference, absolute $, and that way it stays static.